I
don't know.
We want to talk about
the stories.
Which story? We'll talk about. Let's talk about the Inga Mojis, how it really started.
Okay.
I want to tell you the story about. We'll call it. Mel Brewster was a doctor. Mel Brewster is of the Shurs tribe. He's Paiute and white, and so as a half-breed, he's very, very large. He's over 6 feet tall, I think, and some 300 pounds. There are stories here in the Great Basin of a thing called Inga Mojis. Inga Mojis is red beard. I think what Inga Mojis has always been is a contact between, like, say, my ancestors who are Nordic and these Indians here. This young race of people, this white race of people, about 6,000 years old, the people of color have been here for a long time. But anyhow, when they started coming here, thousands of years before Columbus, they had their stories out here. You know they were here because their stories are here, their bodies are here. And the Inga Mojis was said that when the little people would approach them, when the human being here, the Paiute people would approach him, that they would disappear. They said he was eating them. He was eating these people. And I suppose maybe not knowing how to live, he probably was. Anyhow, there was a cave out here, and in that cave they found this guy buried with a red beard. Oh, he must have been, geez, tall, like 7 feet nearly. And all his clothes and stuff was different from everybody's here. And I think it was at one such occasion as this I heard this story, where Mel, Dr. Mel, we call him Boggs. Back on the res, we call him Boggs. Because he's that way. He likes to scare you. He likes to be that kind of a scary guy. So he earned that name, Boggs. Everybody loves him. Like Chili earned his name Chili by being who he was. Like Coyote learned to be Coyote and got that name. So they were at this site because somebody discovered this, and they were there. Johnny Bob was there because, it's culture. And so was Boggs because he's an anthropologist, he's a doctor. So Dr. Boggs and Bob were there. And Bob says to Boggs, "Who's that guy in that cave?" Boggs says, "How should I know?" Bob says to Boggs, "'Cause he's you. You." And Boggs was so upset about this thing that he came and told me. He came and told me about that. What I told Boggs is the truth. I said, you shouldn't be offended. After all, you are of that people. You're of both races. You're walking between worlds. You're a wink day as bad as me. And he don't like that picture either. But they said it's a good thing. I said, because in every story I ever heard about the longhouses, they say that when that returning comes about, the children of those people who took this thing away will be the same ones who bring it back. So the story goes that Inga Mojis, that red beard, is going to be the very one who brings it back. And it's kind of funny because in the West out here with so many Irish and Mormons and whatnot, and it was the Irish and the Mormons that mostly destroyed this culture. A lot of red beards. So here it goes. This was at one time a prophecy, It really was. And they thought it was a prophecy out of some mysticism, but in fact, all prophecy in the longhouses only has one thing. They're following consequence to behavior. The absolute mitigation that somebody thinking their way would take, and the consequence for that. And so they knew that it would be the red beard that would bring back the way because it was they that took it away. The one that stole the pony would have the pony to return. That's what I've been doing, because I am not like the Inga Mojis. But the Inga Mojis, a lot of people, not one. Sometimes the coyote here is just a coyote someplace else. So what happened in this story was this. They could see that the consequences of their behavior is going to so affect their own children, and these people so careless, giving their children nothing but shit and bones and ashes for an inheritance, slaughtering everything that wouldn't roll over and piss for them, feminizing and juvenilizing their own population until finally at some point they can't take it no more. and their children would turn around and embrace the very ways their grandfathers destroyed. It was a fact of consequence that was yet to happen. It's not prophecy. All these things they call prophecy in the Longhouse, if they're based in truth, are based in this way and not mysticism. So to fulfill every prophecy of renewal and return, it would begin with that, the Inga Moji nation. But every fire needs a spark, but the spark is not the entire fire. And some people considering what kind of people it would be among these Inga Moji people who would actually be the ones to bring it back. And they understood by looking at that man that was always catering to that woman, killing everything she was afraid of, all of our grandmothers and grandfathers and every bear and snake, that it certainly would not be the man. He was already preoccupied with his business. He already had a god and he was serving it. And they looked at that woman of the Inga Moji and said, you know, she's so well served in the slaughter of our grandmothers and in the destruction of all our things. She's more like the image of that Babylon, that civilization, than she is her own self anymore. It will never be her that would take it back. People like Emma Dan of Fort Hall. People of like the Wasco. People of the Nimapool, Dream Lodge, considering these things for many years, understanding the magic of the civilized people to unspin it, said, so it won't be their man and their woman, who will it be among them? They said, well, it would have to be somebody who would not be so well served by their civilization, and who are they kicking in the teeth? Who is their nigger? In their false morality, whereby they can justify killing the mother because they're so good, because they're not some cocksucker, right? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Like Jesus tells them, they swallow camel's whole while straining on these false morality of gnats. They saw that too. Plainly, some of them. And what they said was astounding. They said it would have to be their rejects, their outcasts, their despised, their nigger. Who is that going to be then? But those faggots. But this isn't prophecy anymore, you see, it's history. Because that spark was that. Not only in me, but in Clyde, and in Lane, and in a returning dance, and in the fairy nation. Who picked it up of all the dances? Who picked it up? You tell me. What's the history say? Who has biscuits in their dance and who does not? It's already history. So the Inga Moji now has turned into something different now. He's turning into the hope of a renewal and a returning. And the Inga Moji nation is happening already. And it's history. It's just history that's yet to unfold as well. And that's all I had to say about that.